Hello everyone, it's Spectre, and today I'm going to be showing you the updates I've made to the Orium data pack. Now, the first thing that I will be pointing out is something that I've been working on for a while. This is taking me the better part of 2 months to get working correctly without too much noticeable lag. As you can see, I have an uncapped frame rate, and I'm running, well, in the end, where it takes place, over 200 frames per second consistently, and that is natural generation. I have a system in place that allows me to naturally generate certain features in the end. Specifically the end right now, although I could make it any dimension. It could be somewhat performance intensive when it comes to exploration, but when not actively exploring, it's not too bad. This structure, feature rather, is called an Obsidian Meteor. It is an end biome feature exclusive. Inside is this kind of amethyst geode vibe that you can get from it. It's a combination of crying obsidian and obsidian. The idea of this is that this is where obsidian, or rather crying obsidian, naturally comes from, since it's not something that you can craft in vanilla, and it's not something that I intend to add a recipe for. This would be the only place that it is naturally found, and it's, comes from space or something like that. Inside, currently, I don't know if this is going to stay this way, there will be a singular black shulker box. The shulker box will have up to 5 different types of items in it. Those are crying obsidian, amethyst shards, regular obsidian, sometimes diamond, and this case is actually very lucky, a lot of star metal. This is going to be the only place that star metal can be found, and it cannot be crafted. What is star metal used for? Well, if you remember any of my other videos, I have a Tinkery system. In that, I have a bunch of different metals that you can work with. Star metal cannot be directly worked with. It is the ends equivalent of netherite scrap. Excuse you. It is the ends equivalent of netherite scrap, being something that is fairly rare because this is not a particularly common feature. It does not generate on the central end island, only the outer ones, and star metal is not a very common thing inside of them. Now, this loot table actually did give me a decent amount. 6 in 1 is the most I've ever seen. Alright, so now with that newfound star metal that you have, you can take that over to an infusion furnace and use it in tandem with netherite scrap to make... Wrong order. Oops. To make dark steel ingots. This is the material that I have been saving as a bit of a secret for some time. Not so much for any reason other than I wanted to make sure that it was the one I was going to use. Didn't want to have it and then remove it, then have it, then remove it. I have settled. I do definitively want it. And it, like netherite, is made using netherite scrap, but instead of gold being the secondary ingredient, it's star metal, and they both, again, are in 4:4 ratios here. So for every 4 netherite and every 4 star metal, you have 1 dark steel. Because it didn't seem right to have this recipe without the other, I made it so that you can also make netherite in an infusion furnace. So again, netherite scrap, gold ingots as per usual. Currently, it's still the same as the vanilla recipe of 4 and 4, so it's technically worse because you gotta have fuel for it and all that. However, I might make it so that these recipes actually have better ratios for the sake of making this more favorable, or alternatively, I can just make it so that it is the only way to make it by removing the vanilla routes. Still unknown whether I want to do that for sure, but this is what I'm currently going with. And just to demonstrate pretty quickly, dark steel is powerful, insane amount of durability, a good amount of damage in modifier slots. Attacks per second is pretty poor. It's not super fast. You can't even really make any with the pickaxe. If I make one of each of these real quickly, give myself a stick, you can see the pickaxe. Attack speed's pretty bad. It never actually charges. If you look at the little bar in the middle of my screen, I tried to zoom in on the bar that's a part of my GUI. As you can see, it's got a pretty poor attack speed. You can kind of with it. Alternatively, if you decide to make something like a sword, also a lot of durability. It goes to 4,000. The extra component gives it a modifier of 4 times, and the base durability is 10,000. The extra components do not give any modifiers, and they even reduce attack speed more than it already is. So yeah, it's not great for combat on its own. Its damage is alright. 9 attack damage for a sword. Attack speed, really sad. But if you have something like a hammer that hits really hard or anything like that, it's going to be great. For pickaxes, it will never raise. I might make it so there's a minimum attack speed of something, manageable, but that's what it currently lies at. If you've been wondering about everything over on this side, combined with the items in my hotbar that have been here since the beginning of the video, I am now going to show you the reason for each of these. I've switched over to survival mode, and I am going to show you all of the currently implemented modifiers for weapons and tools. Every single one of these will be made by combining the materials on the right-hand side with the appropriate item in a workbench in modification mode. You'll put the items for modification here, you'll put the tool here. You can shift-click all of these in, and it will usually put them in the correct spots. There are a few exceptions to that, but I haven't run into any major issues just yet. So first of all, we have Magnetic, a feature that you add a bunch of copper to a steel pickaxe, and it will have Magnetic. The highest level is 4. I am using a steel pickaxe for this demonstration because it has 2000 durability, a mining level of diamond, and only 1 modifier slot. I'm using steel for every modifier showcase because it's just easier to do that. With Magnetic and Magnetic 4, the higher the number, the longer the range. So if I break a block and it drops an item, it will be brought to me from substantially further away. Now, this is going to be particularly useful if you're mining over, say, a lava lake. You can probably mine the item and have it come to you before it lands in the lava, but that is not a guarantee. It still has the same pickup timer that you would normally have. You drop an item, it isn't going to enter your inventory for a moment. You drop one, Magnetic does not work until that cooldown is done. So that stays consistent. Next is Expertise. If you notice, if I am to remove, actually no, I would want to set mine to 0. And if I do the same thing for levels, if I mine with a, let's go with a normal steel pickaxe, just to make this demonstration a little bit more valid. I got less than a level's worth of XP from that. Instead, if I am to take the Expertise pickaxe, and mine something, I went straight to level 4.5 from 1 block. Expertise 5 is the highest level. What it will do is it will say every XP orb that you pick up will have at least a certain amount of value. It will not be an outright multiplier to all XP. This is to prevent it from getting very broken in situations where you, say, kill the Ender Dragon and it drops a bunch of experience orbs. You're not going to get thousands of levels from that because that it would be the side effect of having that big of a multiplier. Instead, what I am making it do is make sure that all XP orbs that you pick up are worth at least a certain value. So if you're the smaller XP orbs that you get from mining singular blocks or from killing normal mobs, those are all going to get increased to a certain level. That shows a lot when you're doing smaller things regarding XP like mining diamonds. Even though they give you a lot of XP, they don't give you nearly as much as some of the other things do. Now, you'll notice both of these, Magnetic and Expertise, they have all 3 slots filled. You don't need all 3 slots. For example, if I were to give myself some glowstone, let's just give myself an amount, and I put that in with a tool, I'm not going to go through with it. It will cost a certain amount in order to put it on. If I only put 1 in, it will reserve that modifier slot. You'll see that it no longer says that there are any modifier slots remaining, and it says that I have 1 out of 20. That is how much of the resource has already been put in of the amount required to increase the level. So with Expertise 0, the slot is reserved, and it will not give me any benefits. You have to put at least 20 in for it to give you any benefits. This is not true for all, but this is true for this one. And you can see if I put in enough, it will go straight to 1. Even though there's 64 there and it only takes 20 to get to level 1, it will only ever at most take it to the next level. Then the next one will require 65. And you can split this up over multiple. It doesn't break anything to do that. It will behave just the same. But this is the first type of modifier application, being bulk modifier application. This is where there's only 1 material required and it requires ramping amounts of it. The next one is a little bit different. Soulbound. This behaves exactly like you'd expect for... That I did not account for. That's a bug I'm going to have to fix. Alright, so I've gone ahead and given myself another steel pickaxe with no modifiers on it, and I gave myself a Totem of Undying and Soul Soil. These are the materials required for Soulbound, and just to demonstrate the other type of modifier application, I'm going to put onto the steel pickaxe these 2 items, and you can see that gives it Soulbound. And it doesn't matter what order these are in, it doesn't even matter which slots they're in, it just matters that you have at least 1 of each of those items in there. With this type of modifier application, that it requires specific items and certain combinations, not just the bulk, add a bunch of X resource to it. These are always 1 level and only ever require 1 of each item that goes into it. In this case, Soul Soil and a Totem of Undying. And that gives you a Soulbound pickaxe. Soulbound pickaxe can be dropped, that isn't an issue. If I have the Soulbound pickaxe and I die, respawn, I respawn with the pickaxe. All the other items in my inventory were dropped, so were my levels and all of that. You can see everything else is here. The Soulbound pickaxe was not retained. Seems like the sword wasn't either. Oh, there it is. It works pretty reliably. I can go all the way over here, and I can, you know, do that real quick. I respawn with the pickaxe. and it will have all the same data, the same modifiers, etc. The modifier is permanent. It doesn't remove itself currently. I don't know if I will make it do that. I don't think that's entirely too necessary. It does consume the whole totem of undying, and it doesn't stop you from dying. It stops the item from being lost. And it works pretty reliably, I gotta say. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Obviously, there's still that bug where, you know, if you take it out of here, it just kind of disappears. And I know why that's happening. It doesn't count as a dropped item like when I dropped it onto the ground. I should be able to solve that. Next on the list, we have Kinetic. This is, unlike these other three, these three can be put on weapons or tools indiscriminately. It doesn't make a difference to their function. With Kinetic, this is one that would be specific for tools that mine like pickaxes. It's another bulk application with redstone. Works pretty similarly to generic Tinkers, where it's just a haste modifier, if you will. This has a max level of 10, requiring many thousands of redstone to get to. But the difference in mining speed is pretty substantial. For example, with this Obsidian, mining one block with a normal steel pickaxe. Now, granted, it won't drop because it's mining level of diamond, not obsidian, but with one normal steel pickaxe, this is taking a long time. This is taking a long time. So yeah, that took the better part of 30 seconds, maybe longer. Versus if I take Kinetic 10 in mine, still won't drop it, but that's exactly how long it takes. Maybe 4 seconds, probably 3. Next on the list, we have Diamond Tipped. This is another specific application. It only requires 1 diamond. It used to have a texture, but it doesn't anymore because of the fact that the custom textures are a little bit intensive on your memory specifically, and as well as on the CPU once they're enabled. It really bogs down the texture pack. Not in size. It doesn't grow much. I only need 1 extra image, but the model files get excessively complicated. So no graphics. That's why I just have the enchantment glint for all of it right now. If that's not the best solution, but it's what I currently have. As you can see, comparing this to a normal one, it increases the durability by 500 and makes it a mining level of obsidian. I can now actually mine one of these. Now, I kind of wish I had Kinetic on this. It does increase the mining speed a little bit, but not as much as Kinetic will. But it's now actually harvestable because I have a obsidian level pickaxe. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, very similar to normal Tinkers. Next we have Silk Touch, another precision, 1 emerald, 1 feather. You get a Silk Touch pickaxe. Once again with diamond ore being the example. Mine with steel, get a diamond. And I already have some. Mine with Silk Touch, get a diamond ore block. Very straightforward, a bit easier to get with this than it is to get in vanilla. It doesn't seem to be too broken. Maybe I should make this more expensive, but I can't say for sure if I really want to. Next, we have Miner's Fortune. 3 gold. Well, not 3 gold. A bulk amount of gold. It doesn't require nearly as much as some of the others, but it can go up to level 5, which is better than the vanilla Fortune 4. Or Fortune 3? Fortune 3? I don't remember for sure. I'm pretty sure the base game has Fortune 3 as its limit. It's been a while since I've looked. But this, you know, you mine. You get a lot. Pretty straightforward stuff. Let's put this on the hotbar so you can see. Mining 2 blocks instead of getting 2, I got 4 with a maximum theoretical of 6 here. That was another 3. That was 6. I got full amount from that one. So yeah, it's pretty good. Also pretty straightforward. I used gold because I want, for a variety of reasons, I want these to be fairly unique. And no, Miner's Fortune is not the same as looting. It will not work on mobs. Next up, we have Sharpness. For these, I'm going to be doing the tests in creative mode for the sake of I don't want to get hurt and also unlimited spawn eggs. So if I take a Sharpness steel longsword, goes up to Sharpness 10, works the exact same as vanilla Sharpness. The difference is the level and the fact that it requires an insane amount of quartz to get. If I spawn a creeper, kill it with a normal sword. That was not a full charge, but you'll still get the idea here. Don't run away from me. 4 hits there. If I take, let's do this again, but with fully charged hits. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 from that. Spawn another one. Go with the Sharpness one. 1, 2. better, not super noticeable. It doesn't show up on the attack damage page here. I might make it do that instead, but that can get a little bit complicated, as this says it does +6 attack damage. It does 7 attack damage. That is the damage of the sword. I might make it display that explicitly, but currently it does not. Following Sharpness is Holy. This is just effectively Smite, but it also goes to level 10 now. It requires Holy Water for application, which you can get from a Cleric. Once they level up a certain amount, and now that can be anywhere from levels 2 to 5, it depends, it's kind of random, they will eventually, usually, have this trade. I believe I made it a guarantee by the last level that they get it. You can get Holy Water for 16 emeralds. They will give you at most 2 of these a day. He's already given me 1 so far, which I used in creative mode to get the rest. You can either use it to make holy, or you can drink it, giving you absorption, regen, and fire resistance. Currently, they're all for 10 minutes. That's just temporary numbers. I might change those. Onto the sword. So, if I get a creeper, and I attack it with, say, the holy sword. 1, 2, 3. Same as it took for the normal sword. If I get a husk and kill it with a normal sword. 1, 2, 3. Pretty straightforward stuff. If I take the husk and attack it with smite, it's gone. This thing will obliterate normal undead. Just outright obliterate. There are no questions asked. He got a one-way ticket to stop existing. It doesn't affect damage against normal mobs. I don't know if I want it to. I don't even know if that's possible, but for what it is, yeah. And as you can see, it doesn't care that I'm in creative mode. It's still taking durability from the items. That's something I'll probably change, but it's kind of negligible with how insane durability can get. Although I think just for the sake of it, I will implement that alongside the fix to Soulbound just getting destroyed the instant you break it from an item frame. Next is Flaming. It's, like the last two, are bulk crafts. You use Eternal Flames for them. I have shown how to get Eternal Flames before, but in case that information was forgotten or lost for any reason, you get Eternal Flames by taking Blaze Powder, and if I scroll down far enough, Netherrack. You go into normal crafting mode, 1 Netherrack, surrounded by 8 Blaze Powder, gives you an Eternal Flame. And with a rather hefty number of them, you can get a Flaming Sword. It goes up to Flaming 5, better than Fire Aspect 2, but is also, once again, fundamentally the same as Fire Aspect 2. Difference is, this lasts for so long that on most weapons that you apply it to, the burn will typically kill a normal mob, even after just 1 hit. The problem is they're still alive for a while, but if you let it go, whether you're running or anything, it will kill it. These get really powerful. As you can tell, these combat ones specifically get very powerful very quickly. That is the entire reason why modifier slots are relatively sparse. But there you go. Next is Frostbite. This requires Packed Ice, also a bulk application like the Flaming and, the other ones. Frostbite is not compatible with Flaming. You cannot put both of these on the same weapon. And what it does is the duration affecting length, once again. It will give it a little particle effect, and will give the creature slowness. A lot of slowness. I believe slowness 4 is what I set it to. Although this is subject to potentially change, being able to make sure that a mob just kind of can't reach you for a bit is really nice. This would stack extremely hard with any form of DPS if you had, say, the ability to hit them with this and then with that. Now it's slow, and it's on fire. There's nothing it can do about it. So for a combination of how powerful this is, and because it's just thematically unsensible, I made it so they cannot stack. Following that is Knockback. Another bulk application, Slime Blocks. It doesn't require too many. It starts at 1 for level 1, 2 for level 2, and so forth. It's a lot stronger, being able to go to level 5. There he is. Gone. You can just kind of launch him off a cliff. It's not super powerful when it comes to anything that A, has range, or B, if you need any other modifier for it, this is taking up one of your valuable modifier slots. All of these together, well, sure, you can't combine all of them, but any of these are very nice to have on a golden weapon. Because golden weapons, or gold in general, can have more modifiers than anything else, gold can have the most. If you make a fully golden tool, you will have 9 modifiers. 9. You won't run out, even after I add more, because I do have a lot more intended for both weapons and tools, both and in utility aspects as well as in combat aspects. 9 is a lot. you're not going to get much better of a deal anywhere else. Then having knockback on it when modifier slots aren't in abundance is great. If it's something like a steel weapon that you're making just because you need the durability, you're probably not going to want to put something like knockback on it. Even Frostbite and Flaming are questionable. Typically you'll go with something like Sharpness or Holy because those just are really good at their jobs. Following all of that, Hunter's Luck. This is my name for looting because I just wanted to be at least moderately original with it. Like all of the weapon applications before it, it is a bulk application, and it goes to level 5. You can see that I really like to have things end at levels 5, 10, etc., unless it doesn't make sense for them to. With this, you can get, just like anything else, just like Miner's Fortune, it will increase the number of drops that you can get by a pretty reasonable amount. That was a very pathetic amount, however, for when I can get easily a lot more than that. Okay, it gave me 1 to spite me. There we go. 4 again. It's not going to give me a lot, I guess, but a normal amount is something more like 1 to 3. Now you can get a whole TNT's worth from any one creeper that you decide to ruin the day of. There, it just gave me 7. These are all the current modifiers that are in the beta versions of the pack. If you would like to play a beta version, you can apply to be a beta tester in my Discord link for that in the description. If you would like to help me test Orium and make sure that everything between the custom crafting, the modifiers, the many of them that there are and will be, as well as all of the custom tools and extra features like that, please be my guest. I'm not charging anything for it, and right now, basically all applicants are accepted because I don't have much criteria to go off of. I just need to know what works, what doesn't, what needs tweaked, and that will be good. Anyhow, I have been Solar Fox Spectre. Thank you for watching.